Hello, in this section of the video, we'll be sharing with you the procedure for creating triple service on the ONT and how to apply automation or service creation. Recently, Tejas has launched new model OLT software and the provisioning model has slightly changed from the earlier service provisioning videos presented in this channel. For the purpose of this demo, we have created the following setup. As we can see here, on the uplink, we have a triple service server, a data server having internet, and a voice server and a ACS server. And we have an OLT with an uplink physical port, Ethernet port number 8, and the downlink PON port number 5. Further is connected to 4 ONTs. We will be starting with service creation for the first ONT. So we will manually detect the ONT and allow the addition of the ONT into the node, and thereupon we'll start the service creation. In this demo, we are including the following service: data service IPoE with DHCP, VLAN 700. We'll be choosing the VEIP method of application of the service. Second service is the TR069 ACS with internet on a PPPoE authentication with VLAN 1001. And the third service will be a voice service with VLAN 4000. And here the type of service applied on the ONT is a IPHost. First service demo, we are including an ONT with the following serial number. We shall review the overall steps which will be explained in this demo. Step 1, we will connect the ONT and we allow the ONT to be detected into the OLT. However, since we are detecting the ONT via manual authentication, we'll have to allow the ONT into the PON port by using a manual addition method. Once the ONT is added, the step number 2, we create the GPON site profiles. We mention the bandwidth and the TCONT, and then we also mention the type of VLAN operation need to be associated with the particular profile. Step number 3, we attach these profiles to the ONT. And step number 4, we create the WAN for the ONT and push it from the OLT to the ONT. And step number 5, we create the L2 side of VLAN services, the SNI flow point, add the gem flow points for each ONT. And the final step, check whether the traffic is working fine and whether the ONTs have received IP from the DHCP server. So we'll log into the node or the OLT. So username Tejas and the password J72 EH05T. Click submit. You can see here, this is the home page. The IP of the OLT and the model of the OLT is displayed here, and this is the MAC address of the OLT. We are going to do a OLT detection. So we click on the inventory, the method of discovery or activation policy selected. We have not selected auto discovery. Auto discovery, automatically the ONT will be assigned the PON port and ID and will be available for service creation. We have chosen authentication by serial number. On the left side, we see a GPON folder. Here, we have to navigate down here to maintenance, and we can see the folder unprovisioned ONT. We see that an ONT has already been detected on the PON port number 5. So this is the serial number of the ONT. This ONT need to be manually allowed into the mainstream. Take the serial number. So before I add that, let me show you the PON ports. We can see here there is absolutely no display of any ONT present here. we have here an option add ONT. Add it on the card number 1 and we want to put it on PON port number 5. Default disable the type C configuration, and this is our ONT serial number. Then here we have an option. We can have automatic ONT ID or even manual ONT ID. So for the purpose of demo, let me give a manual ID. I'll give the ID 7. Next, the ONT mode. So RG mode, bridge mode or hybrid mode. So connecting a hybrid ONT. So we select hybrid. This ONT has 4 Ethernet ports and 1 voice port, and it's got 1 IPHost interface. If we are not aware of the interfaces, we can keep it 0. And when the ONT reboots, it would automatically get synced. Add ONT step. Successfully sent ONT addition request. We go back to the manage ONT page. You can see here the ONT has been added into the PON port number 5 and it has been allocated ID 7 and mentioned as activate pending, and the application status is not ready. Next, I'll show you here the inventory page. Slot number 1, we click on the GPON ports. We can see here this particular OLT has a single slot and 16 PON ports are there. And out of this, the PON port number 5, the ONT has been added. Let me refresh this manage ONT page. Now we see that the activation of the ONT is complete. The optical power is fine and it has got successfully detected. And the important column to read is the MIB upload success. The ONT has been successfully read by its all parameters into the OLT. We can see here the serial number and the various ports it has. It's got the 4 Ethernet ports and it's got 1 PON port and it's got the virtual port here. There's a button here, show additional info. We click that. We can see what is the optical power received on the ONT. Here it is written -11 dBm. This is the TX power of the ONT and this is the power received on the PON port of the OLT. So now we can see here that the ONT is successfully detected and physical status activated. This is the model number of the ONT. Step number 1 is complete. So let's go to step number 2. So we'll have to create the profiles for these 3 services. So click on the reload menu. The menu is compressed. Click on the GPON folder. Go to traffic configuration. Here we have the folder upstream bandwidth profile. Right now no profiles have been created. So let's create. The first profile is for the data service. I'm creating 100 Mbps profile. Here we have to choose the different types of TCONTs. There are 5 types of TCONTs as per the GPON protocol available to us. The type of TCONT allows us to manipulate and utilize the bandwidth in the upstream in an appropriate way for the desired service. For example, a voice service will require a highest priority. I would use a type 1 profile. For a data service, I can have flexible bandwidth. So I would use typically a type 3 profile. So let's go ahead now. Click on type 3. I'll get 10 Mbps. Assured bandwidth is 10 Mbps and maximum bandwidth is 100 Mbps. Create. So bandwidth profile has been created for data service. The other service, the voice with VLAN 4000. I'm giving a name, easy to identify what type of profile we are creating. See here, UBP means upstream bandwidth profile. We can have type 1. You see here, the voice service requires a dedicated bandwidth. I'm giving here 1 Mbps. So this much of bandwidth, regardless of the flow of traffic, will be reserved for the voice. Next, I'll have to create a service for the ACS or the internet PPPoE. So I given a name, easy name. Here, let me choose a different type of TCONT, maybe type 4. This is a highly flexible bandwidth. There is no assured bandwidth. As long as the overall average bandwidth is available, all the ONTs applied with this service profile will receive the traffic. You can see I created 4 bandwidth profiles of 3 different types of TCONT. Next, I have to encapsulate each of the bandwidth profiles in a TCONT service profile. So let's give a name and encapsulate the data bandwidth here. Next, we will encapsulate the voice. And lastly, we'll encapsulate the TR profile. I have created TCONT service profile which individually encapsulate the respective upstream bandwidth profiles. We go to the third step, TCONT mapping profile. So as I said in the beginning, creating triple service on a single ONT. So I want to club all the 3 profiles and apply it in one shot on a given ONT. So that is why we need this third profile, TCONT mapping profile. I've chosen a name to easily understand that this encapsulates 3 services, data, voice and TR069. TCONT service profile which we want to include here is a data. Then we click on add row and we will include the voice. Again click on add row and include the TR069 service profile. So 3 are clubbed into a single profile name. We have created a template for the 3 types of services. So kindly note, this template contains only the bandwidth. So next, as per the steps, we also have to denote the VLAN operation to be applied on the ONTs. We go here, VLAN tag operation profile, click on add new VLAN tag operation. Here that there are 2 parameters mentioned here, ingress tagging and egress tagging. It's been explained in another video, but briefly let me explain here with a diagram. So I have a small diagram here with me. Right side we have the upstream traffic originating from the ONT client, and from right to left the traffic packets proceed upstream and reach the OLT PON, and thereupon the GPON gets encapsulated in Ethernet and goes to the uplink. Packets which come from the ONT client side, they are called the ingress packets, and the VLAN that we want to apply on them while it's entering into the ONT, that is called the ONT WAN ingress VLAN. The packets that are exiting out of the ONT and proceeding towards the OLT is called the egress packets, and the VLAN that we apply on that packets is called the egress VLAN. Going back into the OLT, so for the data service, this is a VIP type of service, so I'll be applying a single tag, mentioned here VLAN 700. I don't need to provide the TPID and PBit in this setup, remove that, and the egress is also a single tag, and we mark it VLAN 700, and we don't require the TPID and PBit. Create. One VLAN operation has been defined. Next, I need to add our voice. The voice packets are untagged packets coming from outside, so therefore the ingress tagging would be untagged. However, I need to apply a VLAN and then send them out of the ONT. So the egress tagging will be single tag, and I'll mention the VLAN 4000 here. The option below is not mandatory, but it can be left default. We create. Then the last VLAN operation, that is for the TR069. Have a single tagged operation because I'll be creating a WAN on the ONT. So we create this here, and we can see here this is the VLAN operation created for the 3 services. Data path, that is gone VLAN 700, and then here the voice is on VLAN 4000, and the TR is on 1001. All these 3 VLAN operations again need to be encapsulated in a parameter called ONU upstream traffic profile. These need to be relevantly mapped with the TCONT on which ONT uni they need to operate upon. In a suitable name, we can see here data voice TR69 upstream traffic profile VLAN descriptions. That is the name of the profile. What is the first service? The first service, so this is mapped on the VIP interface, and the VLAN operation I would like to apply is VLAN 700 TCONT type 1. So you can see here there are 8 TCONTs available here, but please do not confuse this with the type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or the type of the TCONT. I will mention here to map to the TCONT in the bandwidth profile if we have selected different types of TCONT for the services. I'll show you the menu here. So if we see here, there are 3 bandwidth profiles which I have taken, and each of the profiles are using a different traffic container. You can see this is type 1 TCONT, and this is a type 3, and this is a type 4. Hence, when I do the VLAN mapping, I need to associate them. Next, I need to add the voice. So the voice is applied on a IPHost 1. So this on a map, I'll map this as a different TCONT. So the last one is mapped for the PPPoE as well as ACS. So again, there's a VIP interface. So the VIP responds to a WAN created on the ONT. You can see here, I have encapsulated all the VLAN operations under a single stream traffic profile. Create. Now we can see VLAN upstream traffic profile has been created and a TCONT mapping profile has been created. We have completed the step number 2. Now we'll have to attach this profile onto the ONT. So here's another small step which I would like to add as a new feature which we have introduced for some of the new model ONTs. We have a feature called ACS profile. So we want to push the ACS details into the ONT from the OLT. So we can create a profile from here. So I've already done it here. You can see here. This is the ACS credentials. These need to be pushed into the ONT so that the ONT will be able to sync or latch on to the ACS server. Number 3, where I attach all of these profiles. Reload the menu, go into the GPON folder, traffic configuration, and we have here ONU profile configuration. We can see here that this is the column mentioning the TCONT mapping profile and the ONU traffic profile or the VLAN operations. So the TCONT and bandwidth operations are on this column and the VLAN operations are on this column. Select the profile which we have created now. This describes the VLANs. Here we select the ACS. We need to click on the ONT. So let us say that we have several ONTs in this table. We need to apply a tick mark and select all of them, and in one shot we can apply the attach at one go. Here the message successfully attached the profiles to the ONU. So we just verify here that the ONU has the relevant bandwidth profile, the relevant VLAN operation profile, and the relevant ACS profile. So the step number 3 has been completed. So the step number 4, we need to create the WANs. So we need to create the WAN for the PPPoE credentials as well as the IPoE. We'll go back to the OLT. We go into ONU WAN configuration. Click on Add WAN Profile. I give a unique name. Select the OLT. This is the number and this is the PON port. So on PON port number 5, ONT number 7, WAN enable, and the protocol is IPoE. For VLAN 700, I'll be using a IPoE with DHCP enabled. So this service type is internet, and here I have the VLAN ID option. Pbit is by default 0. We keep other settings default, and then we have the DHCP mode. And since this is a IPoE, I don't need to give any username password. That's for the PPPoE session. For this demo setup, I am keeping this disabled. So next, we go back to the ONU WAN profile and verify whether the required WAN was created. Same ONU, I now need to create the second WAN for the PPPoE service. PPPoE TR069, the PON port, the ONT, the type of protocol. So this is a PPPoE. Here it's TR069 plus internet. LAN ID is 1001. Username, password. For this demo, I'm keeping the firewall disabled. Submit. 2 required WANs for this ONT have been created. So the step number 5, I'll have to create the L2 side ELAN services. Before that, additionally, I would like to show you the voice credentials creation as well. So click on reload menu. On the left side you have GPON, and under this you have the folder void. So now we'll go to the step number 5, creating L2 side ELAN services. So we'll be creating the configurations for this part of the service path. So on the left side we can see we have the folder service switch, under which you have services provisioning, and you have flow point templates. So we'll have to create individual flow point templates for the individual VLAN. So we click provision a new flow point template, give a name, and then mention CVLAN and then the VLAN number. Next we go to the ELAN services, and here we add the flow points or the ports through which the traffic path needs to be defined. Click on add new ELAN service. So my first service is the data service. Settings are default. Click on create and then click on add new flow point. So this is the port number 8.1 queue, and I need to use the VLAN 700 flow point here. The remaining settings are default. Create. Next I need to add the gem flows or the IDs which define each of the traffic service flowing to the individual ONU. Here we can see these are all the default settings. My ONT is on the PON port number 5, corresponding to the PON lag 205. If my PON port is PON port number 10, it would be 210. 205, then my ONT. So which gem channel traffic I want to pass. So there are 3 services. So this particular gem flow which I want to push is VLAN 700. So that's the data path service. The remaining settings are all default. Create, yes, then go back. I created the data service for VLAN 700. Next, I need to create the voice service. Give a name and keep other settings default. So in the same way, I add the flow points. Voice service is on a different uplink Ethernet port. So I need to select the port number 7 here. And the voice VLAN is 4000. Create, yes. Next, I need to create the gem flows. So on the PON port number 5, the ONT number 7, and voice VLAN need to be passed. So my voice service creation is complete. Lastly, I need to create the TR service. This service will connect the ONT to the ACS. Now I add the flow points. This too is uplink via the physical port number 7, not port number 8, which was for the first service. So this is a TR VLAN. Remaining settings are all default. Link port is added, the SNI port. I need to add the gem flow. PON port number 5, ONT 5, and then there's the TR ACS. Create, yes. You can see that I completed the step number 5. So let's straight away go and check for the traffic. So all my service configurations are complete. Let me verify if my uplink ports are up. So go to service switch, interfaces, and L2 ports. So my two traffic ports are port number 7 and port number 8. We can see it's up and it's marked in green. The link status is up. Now let me go to the individual ONT vans and verify whether they received the IP. So we have the folder here, ONU WAN configuration. So there are two WANs here. We can click on refresh or sync all and verify whether the IP addresses has been received. Now the traffic service is the traffic service for the PPPoE and ACS. The IP has been received. We were verifying this tab whether the ONT which we have configured has received the traffic, received the IP from the DHCP servers. So we go back to the OLT and we see that the ONT is activated and ready. We see the folder GPON and we navigate to the WAN configuration window. We see here the ONT is having two WANs. So this is the data WAN and this is the PPPoE WAN which links to the ACS server. There's a button here, sync all. This fetches the latest IP address in the WAN. We can see here the current IP address allocated and live on the ONT. Let us verify whether the ONT has come online into the ACS with this IP. So this is the ACS and this is the serial number which we were working on, 7387AC. So we see here the ONT has appeared with the model number and it has come online at this date and time. So if we click this, we can see the various options are available TR016 operations on this ONT. So we have successfully completed the step number 6